What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, with free agency still kind of kicking on for a lot of players in the NBA, one of the players that is still yet to find his team in the NBA is a big name, at least at this point of his career, but maybe not necessarily, I guess, a superstar anymore. His name is Russell Westbrook. Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, Russell Westbrook does not have a team, and maybe by the time this video comes out, he will have a team, but if this video is already out, it means at that point, he still doesn't have a team. So I want to talk about potential destinations in which Russell Westbrook could go down. What are the potential suitors out there? Which teams might need a player like Russell Westbrook? Which teams, I guess, would be interested in him? And with that being said, let's talk about all the potential possibilities in this video. Before we get any further, if you do enjoy the video, feel free to like and subscribe if you are new, and let me know where you think Russell Westbrook's new or returning home might be for this upcoming NBA season. Now, we know with Russell Westbrook, he has a lot of good to his game. Still extremely energetic for a guy his age, extremely talented when it comes to finishing around the rim, still can get a triple-double every now and then, and again, is a guy, even I would say even if he's a bench player at this stage of his career, brings so much winning mentality, maybe winning passion, that many teams probably do need at this point in their season. You know, everybody wants a guy with Russell Westbrook's attitude, let's say, in my opinion, and that means he's still probably going to be welcomed around the league, regardless of what team it's going to be. There is a team out there for Russell Westbrook. We should firstly talk about the team he, I guess, recently played for, and that is the Denver Nuggets. Now, I don't think he had a terrible time with Denver whatsoever. Considering he was the backup option over there, obviously with Jamal Murray playing, it makes obvious sense that Russell Westbrook was the backup. I don't think he did terrible there whatsoever. I think he brought the passion that you'd expect, and I think Denver fans ate that up in more ways than one, and I can see the possibility of him returning to Denver. Now, this really comes down to, in my opinion, A, does Russell Westbrook want to commit to Denver, not talking about the team, but Denver itself, long term, and B, does Denver want to commit to Russell Westbrook? Because at the end of the day, Russell Westbrook is a player that could potentially be replaced by a better option if there is a better option out there. Can Denver find that option, or is Russell Westbrook the best that they could do at this point in time? If those two things can get met and can be kind of agreed upon, Russell Westbrook could very well return to the Denver Nuggets. And I do think that will be good for Denver. I mean, when it comes to depth-wise, they have one of the worst depth teams in the league. I don't think Westbrook is part of that issue. There's so many more issues, whether it's the big man or even some of their forwards, that I would say needs addressing, not necessarily the guards. But with Westbrook maybe leaving Denver, you would have to have a conversation about the guards. So we'll see what happens there with the Denver Nuggets. But I think a little bit of turmoil in that locker room as well might lead for Westbrook's new destination. Now, the biggest talking point about Russell Westbrook's destination at this point in time has been the Sacramento Kings. Now, I remember a time where Sacramento was kind of falling. I think they lost in the play-in tournament, and Domantas Sabonis himself said that the Sacramento Kings need a point guard. As far as I'm aware, the only addition they've really brought into their team is Dennis Schroeder. So Dennis Schroeder is a very capable point guard, but that still leaves room for other guards that could step up to the plate. Why not Russell Westbrook? There's a reason why he's been rumored to the Sacramento Kings. One, I'm pretty sure his family is in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, and Sacramento's pretty close to that. To that area. So obviously it's not the Clippers and it's not the Lakers, and I'm sure if he was picking based on home destination, he'd rather go to those two teams, but Sacramento might be the next best thing. Very similar to why Zach LaVine went to the Sacramento Kings, I would say, as well, why he was rumored to go there for years before he ended up there. It's because it's close to his home area. So I feel like Sacramento is a perfect destination in that regard for Russell Westbrook, and you definitely know he's going to have a role there, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. I think at this point it would still be coming off the bench. You know his role is going to be a big part with Sacramento. Considering that we're in a play-in tournament sort of area, they do need more depth, especially in the point guard position, to take them to the next level. And I can't help but think about the Sacramento Kings fans, how crazy they are, and Russell Westbrook's energy. I mean, if they do end up having a big run next season, that is going to be a perfect relationship in more ways than one. So, yeah, I can see Russell Westbrook in Sacramento. we could potentially talk about an OKC Thunder reunion. I mean, you know, I think Thunder fans would welcome Russell Westbrook with open arms. I've heard OKC Thunder fans saying, let's just bring him in for the sake of getting him a championship and stuff of that nature. OKC is more likely to be in that championship race than probably any other team we're going to mention here, considering they've kept everybody really. They've paid their guys big money. They're going to go for it again, and I fully expect them to go for it again. But yeah, my real big question with the OKC Thunder is how can they possibly make this work with Russell Westbrook actually playing? Because I can understand it from the point of view where Russell Westbrook maybe sits on the bench and becomes a leader, mentor type role where he doesn't play, but he's helping the young guys get to the next step. If that's where Russell Westbrook's future lies, OKC would be a great destination because he can help young guys, he can help improve a really young squad, but he doesn't have to play big minutes or really any significant minutes whatsoever. If that's where he wants to go in his NBA career, the Thunder would be a great addition. I'd love to have that welcome home sort of ceremony like I've seen with a bunch of other guys. Like I'm excited for it with Damian Lillard, and I'm excited about it with there was another guy I was talking about as well. Who was it? Chris Paul to the Clippers. You know, these things, when it happens, I tend to get very excited about the idea, but I still feel like Westbrook himself probably has more to prove at the NBA level and wants to prove that he's still worthy of big minutes and big playing time and all these things. So I can't, in good conscience, actually see OKC Thunder and Westbrook coming together. With that being said, big changes happened in the next team I'm going to be talking about, and maybe this could lead for potential destination for Russell Westbrook, and that is the Phoenix Suns. I think the Phoenix Suns could be a unique acquisition for Russell with Russell Westbrook. For the starters, they got a lot of big men in this upcoming in the previous NBA draft, and those big men probably need a little bit of nurturing, and I think a guy like Westbrook with his ability to play make, sure he averages a lot of turnovers, we could talk about that if you like, but he's a guy that's always going to be looking to get the big men open from his very first years when he was playing with guys like Steven Adams and all of that. You saw him look for big men and get the big men open. I think a big man would absolutely love to play with a guy like Russell Westbrook. And I think Phoenix do need point guard help. They needed it even back when they had Kevin Durant and they had a competing team. They need it now, 100%. So I feel like it could be a good addition. I also think Phoenix's balance is a little bit better because Devin Booker as that primary scorer, and they have a couple of three-point shooters around them. For example, when I think of the Kings, the big weakness is a lot of their starters aren't great three-point shooters. Westbrook isn't a good three-point shooter. DeRozan, I mean, he's a good three-point shooter, but it's the point of taking them, and he doesn't take many of them. Sabonis isn't a good three-point shooter, so that's three guys that's a bit iffy from the three-point line. Levine is pretty good. Monk is pretty good. There's a whole bunch of guys with the Kings that are good from threes. Keegan Murray as well is pretty good. So it's about finding the balance, of course. But that starting lineup doesn't look like a tremendously good three-point shooting team. With Phoenix, I don't really see that as a big issue there, and I think he could definitely fit in that organization. Now, the last team I'm going to talk about is, I guess, it's a team that needs backup point guard help for sure. When you look at their team, I think that was kind of one of the big areas that was missing was the backup point guard help. And this team is a very competitive team in its own right. It's the New York Knicks. I read this from an article, by the way, this team specifically. The Knicks could potentially be in the running for Russell Westbrook. Firstly, large market, very big market, and a lot of players want to say by the time it's all said and done that they played for the New York Knicks. And the fan base there is really, really positive, sometimes a bit too toxic, but they're very passionate about their team, and they do need backup point guard help. Jalen Brunson is going to play the bulk of the minutes. We know that. He's probably going to play 40 minutes by the time the playoff comes around. But when Brunson is off the court, they need someone that can make things happen on the offensive end. Russell Westbrook could be that player 100%. I actually think in terms of making things work, this is the best destination for Russell Westbrook. Yeah, with the Kings, he might start. With the OKC Thunder, he could get closer to the championship even if he doesn't play. Phoenix, I still don't think will be competitive in terms of the other teams in the West, personally. With the Knicks, you go to a little bit of a weaker Eastern Conference. You go to a team that is pretty much instantly going to be ready to compete in that conference. You become the backup point guard to a very talented guard in Jalen Brunson. You got a good big man as well that you can find and help in the playmaking side of things. To me, the Knicks makes the most sense in terms of joining them. My only issue with this is Westbrook, I don't personally think, I mean, maybe he doesn't care, I don't know. I think Westbrook probably doesn't want to join the larger markets at the moment, because every time he's joined larger markets, his name gets thrown in the mud every single time. Every single time. When you join the Lakers, I've never heard more criticism of a player than Russell Westbrook on the Lakers. It was immeasurable, and even the Clippers as well. Immeasurable stuff, like, it's unbelievable. He played well for the Clippers compared to the Lakers, of course, but still, like, we're talking about a guy that is not the superstar of a team anymore, getting criticized like he is the absolute worst player of all time. It was terrible. So going to the Knicks, he's gonna fear. I fear he's going to have more of the same with the New York fan base, but more specifically, other fan bases around the league, because the New York Knicks are a large market and gain massive media attention. Does Russell Westbrook at this point of his career want to go down that route? He already talked about how his kids get bullied from situations like this. I don't know. For me, that's really the only thing that would be stopping Westbrook joining the Knicks, because other than that, I really think it's the perfect match. So all in all, where do I see Westbrook's destination being? We could try it. Well, let's rank them, because maybe there's another team out there in the works that I don't know about. But I think first, you have to consider the Sacramento Kings as the favorite, considering the fact that they really need a point guard. And I think they're the only team that's truly actively talking at the moment. Then I would say the return to Denver would be the second option, purely because, you know, it already has happened. It's already worked there. I think Denver like Westbrook, and I think Westbrook does like Denver. If they could just get their coaching and locker room turmoil in check, which I think they would do, they're all professionals, shouldn't be an issue there. I think he could very well join Denver again. My third option would be the Knicks. I think the Knicks is the most obvious option, but media and scrutiny and everything in between could be difficult for a player like Westbrook to go down that route again. Then Phoenix, I would say, is number 4, because they do need a point guard, and I do think Westbrook can help there. And then number 5 for me would be the OKC Thunder reunion. I just don't think Westbrook's at that stage where he's going to not play. So, I think if he joins the OKC Thunder, he's not going to play. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. I mean, the Thunder have tremendous guards. The thing is, they have tremendous players everywhere. So it's hard to say he'll play or he won't play. But I kind of see his minutes getting massively reduced if he joins the OKC Thunder. But oh boy, would I love to see that. So that's, in my opinion, is Russell Westbrook destinations. There are many other teams he could go to. Maybe he could go to a team like Detroit. I think Detroit is not a bad option. Maybe the Orlando Magic for, you know, if it's on vet minimum or something like that. Maybe the Magic could do something in that regard in terms of the East. You know, maybe the Raptors. There's loads of teams that could kind of go for Russell Westbrook. Those are the teams that I think make the most sense, though, in different ways. What do you guys think, though? Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.